Hey Vicki, here's the strength video I wanted to post for you. Again, these are just some suggestions on some exercises that I think that are good, that can help with your training. It's always good to mix it up and incorporate some new exercises into your routine. So what I like to do is look at the exercises as movements. So we want to train some different movement patterns. Michael Boyle is a strength and conditioning coach. He's got a ton of experience in the industry, and I've kind of studied some of his lectures and read a lot of his literature. So I kind of have taken a lot from him and try to incorporate that into my training philosophies. So we want to look at knee dominant movement, hip dominant, a basic push or horizontal push, or horizontal pull, a vertical pull, and then we'll also add some additional shoulder work and also some additional arm work, focusing more on the triceps. Core exercises, we'll do a couple, just your basic plank and side plank. I think they're good. So with the core exercises, you can either do them as part of your warm-up or add them into your actual strength training. We've done those before. Again, make sure you're on the roller consistently before, after, or your lacrosse ball or tennis ball, whichever you feel is most effective. Always do a proper warm-up. Make sure the hips are warmed up, glutes, calves, shoulders, everything is stretched out and you're ready to go. Let's get right to some of the exercises I think might be beneficial. The knee dominant, there's a bunch you can do. You can do squats with barbell, a dumbbell. I would suggest using dumbbells as much as possible and keep the barbells off of that spine or that upper back, unless you're comfortable back squatting. Lunges, a bunch of different lunges you can do. One that I would, lateral lunge, which is pretty basic. So I'm just going to step out to the side. Once that foot hits, I'm sitting my butt back, just like I would when I do a squat. So I want to keep the weight in the heel of that, which would be right foot, and I'm pushing my butt back from the side. As you can see, my knee isn't going to go forward too much, but I'm really pushing back and trying to get parallel with that right leg. I want to keep both feet on the ground, ideally both feet relatively straight forward, so I'm not getting a big turnout with that foot. And I want to keep this outside foot on the ground. So if I let it rock up, I'm going to lose that stretch through my adductors. I want to keep that foot as flat on the ground as I can. So I would do both sides, 12 to 15 reps. I would start maybe just with body weight to begin with if you haven't done these before, because it is a big stretch on those adductors. You could then move to some light dumbbells. The leg would split the dumbbells as I step out. I could use a 25-pound, 10-pound plate and just hold it at my chest. If I used a med ball or I used that plate as a counterbalance, it would actually make it a little bit easier, even though I have load in my hands. So if I pushed out with a med ball or again a plate, it would actually help me to get a little bit deeper, because again it's acting as a counterbalance. My weight's going back, that other weight that I'm holding is going forward. So some different options there. Another great one is the step up. With the step up, again, I can do body weight to start out with, or dumbbells, light dumbbells. This is a 20-inch box. That foot's going to hit straight forward. I'm going to think about driving to the heel of that top leg, up, back down. Now I could leave this leg up here, or I can bring it all the way back down. Legs, or I can stay on the same leg from the front. I want to make sure that knee is staying right over my foot so I'm not caving in, which is a sign that my glutes aren't firing. I want to make sure that knee is staying over the foot and it stays there throughout the whole movement, up and down. Okay, so a couple options. A lateral lunge, which I like because again it gets you into a frontal plane. But I also like the step up because it really hits the glutes, which you need for everything, for your running and especially your biking. Okay. Both. You can do that lateral lunge as just part of your warm-up. Just do body weight, and then do the step ups with some lighter dumbbells for your strength exercise. Hip dominant, well, it's effective. It's just your hip thruster on your stability ball. So my legs are bent at a 90. I'm just trying to drive my hips up as high as I can. And that's all coming from my glutes And same thing, I want to keep my knees tracking with my feet, so as I come up, I'm not pushing my knees together. From there, if I wanted to progress, I could go from a hip thruster, extend the legs out, still keeping my hips up high, finishing in that same high hip position, and then back down. So a little bit harder, getting some core work when I use that ball, because I have to maintain some stability so the ball's not rocking side to side. But that one for your hip dominant exercise right now. It's effective, it's pretty simple, you don't have a lot of equipment, you just grab the ball, focus on driving the hip up without getting a big arch in the back. That's the key. Don't try to create more mobility by arching your back, okay? Think about it. So you've got knee dominant, hip dominant. We need to do a push and a pull. A push could be as simple as a push-up. It could be a cable press. It could be dumbbell chest press on a flat bench. I use the TRX, so I get some instability, okay, so I can use, and then I would go to a pull. So opposing muscle movement. This would be our horizontal pull. Getting those shoulder blades together. That could also be a cable, pulling, resistance bands. And then I would want to move to a vertical pull. A vertical pull is basically the big movement you're doing when you swim, when you're pulling that water down. So I could do a lat pull down with a bar. I could do lat pull down with a close grip handle. Pull-ups are great. Assisted pull-up, even chin-ups. You know, you can use that assisted pull-up machine. Great vertical pulling exercises, so you can pick one of those. We would then move to that posterior shoulder movements. So again, this is kind of maintenance exercise. Make sure our shoulders are staying stable, especially with the swimming. It's going to help those rotator cuffs. So I would use either some light cables, you know, a light weight on the cable machines, or in this case, some light resistance band. And I'm going to go through a progression of movement. So I would do an I movement, a Y, keeping my arms nice and straight, a W, and then a T. And I got a good athletic stance, so I've got a good base underneath me. So again, I, Y, W, T. Okay, so I could go through all four of those movements or just pick one. If I wanted to do a little bit more rotator cuff, I could do some internal rotations. I would do both sides, so in this case I'd have to flip. And then I could do my external rotations. So I would go here, external, right here, external. Making sure that elbow stays pinned to the side, and then I'm trying to drive that hand back. I could also go here with the rotator cuffs coming down and up, so those elbows are in a fixed position. Drive those hands back. That's a good one also. Steps, same thing. I can go to those same cables or resistance bands. Do some extensions, tricep extensions. This way, I could also go to the cable machine and go down this way, either with the ropes or the bar pressing down. And again, keeping those elbows locked and working the triceps that way. Okay. The two core exercises we talked about, just the basic plank, navel in tight, hands apart, working up to 30 seconds, and then that side plank. Okay. Making sure the elbow and the shoulder are in alignment. My hips are forward, my navel's in, and I'm nice and solid. Okay. Shoulders back, so I don't have a rounded shoulder, top shoulder. So those two, I would say, just stick with those. Again, we're trying to get, not just rush through a workout, but try to pick exercises that bang for your buck exercises. So I would stick to those right now. We can always progress and add some other ones. So you got knee dominant, hip dominant, push, horizontal pull, vertical pull, working those posterior deltoids with either the I's, Y's, T's, W's, adding some additional rotator cuff exercise movements if you want, and then isolating the triceps for an additional tricep biceps. Let's do 12 to 15 reps of each exercise, 3 rounds through, You can take a 2-minute rest between rounds.